She froze when the door creaked open at midnight. Amanda had been in America for barely 3 months, but that sound, the slow, deliberate turning of the knob, felt heavier than any exam or lecture. Her breath caught. She whispered, "Sir, is something wrong?" But her voice broke halfway. Victor Ashford stepped inside, his presence towering over the room. His shadow swallowed her light. His smile wasn't kindness, it was ownership. She remembered Makoko, the muddy waters where she grew up, the nights she promised her late mother that she'd rise above poverty. And now here she was, in a mansion thousands of miles from home, realizing that every opportunity carried a hidden cost. "Do you know why I brought you here?" Victor's words were soft, but his meaning was sharp. Her hand shook. She wanted to say no, but deep down she already knew. And that's where her story truly began. Before we dive deeper, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another powerful story. Amanda's mornings always began with water, the sound of it dripping, the smell of it thick with mud, and the sight of it stretching endlessly through Makoko's floating slum. She lived where the Lagos Lagoon swallowed the land, where houses were built on stilts, where boats doubled as taxis, kitchens, and sometimes even classrooms. It was the kind of place where dreams often drowned before they were born. But Amanda refused to let hers sink. She would rise before dawn, sweeping out the single-room shack she shared with her aunt and 3 cousins. The roof leaked whenever it rained, the floorboards sagged, and the walls carried the memory of countless storms. Yet Amanda would hum to herself as she fetched water, balancing a plastic container on her head, her bare feet slapping against the wet planks. Her aunt often muttered, "Girl, people like us no day go America. You better find a traitor to marry before hunger finishes you." Amanda would smile faintly, never arguing. Inside, she burned with a different fire. She wanted education, freedom, a chance to rewrite her story. She wanted to sit in classrooms with chalkboards instead of staring through broken windows. She wanted to trade boats for airplanes. At 17, she was already teaching younger children in Makoko for a few naira each evening. Armed with a borrowed notebook and a stub of pencil, she'd gather them under the lantern's dim light, drawing multiplication tables in the sand. Sometimes, when hunger gnawed at her, she would pause mid-sentence and grip her stomach tightly, pretending it was just a cough. But she never stopped teaching. Every day after class, Amanda sneaked into the internet cafe near Yaba. The owner, a grumpy man who chewed cola nuts, allowed her 10 free minutes if she swept the shop. She used those precious minutes to search for scholarships abroad. Her eyes lit up whenever she saw photos of campuses in the United States. Red brick buildings, green lawns, libraries taller than any structure she had ever seen. One night, while scrolling, she stumbled upon an article, Victor Ashford Foundation, Transforming African Dreams into Global Realities. She leaned closer. The billionaire was known worldwide, his wealth built on oil, tech, and influence. He had a reputation for generosity, scholarships, hospitals, schools. The article said he was in Nigeria at that very moment, meeting with local leaders. Amanda's heart raced. She whispered to herself, "Maybe this is it." But even in her excitement, fear lingered. She had grown up hearing stories of people who flew abroad with promises and returned broken, or never returned at all. Her best friend, Chioma, warned her, "Amanda, rich men don't give without taking. Be careful." Amanda laughed it off. "I don't care what he takes. I just need a chance." Still, when she lay on her mat that night, staring at the leaking roof, her chest ached with both hope and doubt. She prayed quietly, "God, please open a door for me. I'll do anything. Just don't let me waste my life here." Days turned into weeks. Amanda kept teaching, kept applying, kept waiting. Then one humid evening, while she was tutoring a boy on fractions, a sleek black SUV pulled up by the rickety dock. The villagers whispered, children pointed. Amanda froze as 2 men in suits stepped out. "Are you Amanda Ease?" one of them asked. Her throat went dry. "Yes, sir. Come with us. Mr. Victor Ashford would like to meet you." The boy she was teaching clutched her hand tightly. "Teacher Amanda, don't go. he whispered. But Amanda's legs were already trembling with a mix of fear and possibility. She followed them into the SUV, her heart pounding as the engine roared to life. For the first time in her life, she sat on leather seats, surrounded by tinted windows that shut out the noise of Makoko. The ride felt endless. Finally, they stopped at Eco Hotel, where the lights glittered like diamonds and the air smelled of wealth. She was led into a private lounge, where he sat, Victor Ashford himself. Tall, composed, his suit tailored to perfection. His eyes carried the weight of someone used to power. When Amanda entered, he looked at her for a long moment before smiling faintly. "So," he said, his voice smooth, "you're the girl who wants to conquer America." Amanda swallowed hard. "Yes, sir." He leaned forward, studying her like a rare artifact. "I've read your application. I know about your mother's death, your work here, your grades. You're exceptional, Amanda. But tell me, why should I choose you over the thousands of others who beg for the same chance?" Her voice shook at first, but she steadied herself. "Because I won't waste it, sir. I'll work harder than anyone. I'll prove that someone from Makoko can stand on the world stage." For a moment, silence hung in the air. Then Victor chuckled softly, almost impressed. "You remind me of myself when I was younger. Hungry. Desperate." He reached into his briefcase and slid an envelope across the table. "Inside is your scholarship confirmation. Full tuition, accommodation, stipend. Everything." Amanda gasped. "Sir, thank you." He raised a hand, stopping her. His eyes darkened just slightly. "But remember, nothing in life is truly free. Do we understand each other?" Her stomach tightened. She nodded quickly, unsure of his meaning. That night, Amanda returned to Makoko with the envelope clutched to her chest, her mind racing. She wanted to scream with joy, but something about his final words echoed in her head like thunder. Nothing in life is truly free. As she lay awake on her mat, staring at the leaking roof, she whispered to herself, "This is my chance. I can't let fear steal it." But deep down, a small, quiet voice inside her whispered a warning. One she would ignore until it was too late. The day Amanda left Makoko, the entire community gathered by the docks. Mothers waved with tears in their eyes. Children ran barefoot behind the car shouting, "Teacher Amanda, bring chocolate when you come back." Her aunt, usually stern and guarded, hugged her tightly for the first time. "Don't forget where you come from," she whispered. Amanda smiled bravely, though her heart trembled. The journey to the airport felt like a dream. For the first time, she wore new clothes, a simple blouse and jeans Victor's assistant had bought for her. When she stepped onto the plane, she stared out the window, tears spilling as Lagos shrank beneath the clouds. She whispered, "Mama, I made it." When Amanda landed in the U.S., the world felt too bright, too clean, too big. Victor had arranged everything. Her school, apartment, even a bank account with money that felt unreal. For a girl who once studied by lantern light, it was paradise. At first, she threw herself into her studies. She sat in the front row, asked questions, and made friends from all over the world. She joined the debate club, volunteered at the library, and sent cheerful voice notes to her aunt. "Auntie, the snow is real. It's cold like freezer water." But Victor's shadow was never far. He called often, at first to check on her progress. His tone was calm, fatherly even. "How are your classes?" he'd ask. "Good, sir," she'd reply politely. "Do you need anything?" "No, sir. I'm Euphina." But slowly the calls changed. He began asking about her clothes, her friends, whether she had a boyfriend. "You have to be careful who you trust, Amanda," he would say. "The world out there isn't kind to girls like you. You need guidance, my guidance." She laughed nervously the first few times, but unease grew in her stomach. Then came the night of the foundation dinner, her first real encounter with Victor's world of power. The ballroom shimmered with crystal chandeliers and gold accents. Men in tuxedos, women in diamonds, waiters gliding like ghosts with silver trays. Amanda wore a rented gown, her nerves hidden behind a practiced smile. Victor arrived late, surrounded by businessmen and socialites. When he spotted her, his smile widened. "There's my star," he said, placing a hand on her shoulder. Cameras flashed. His grip lingered a moment too long. Throughout the evening, he introduced her to guests. "This is Amanda, the girl from the slums I'm investing in." The words stung. The girl from the slums. They laughed, impressed by her accent, her poise, her story. But Amanda felt small, like a trophy, not a person. After the event, as the crowd thinned, Victor poured her a glass of champagne. "To new beginnings," he said. "I don't drink, sir," she whispered. "Tonight you do." She hesitated, but obeyed. The bubbles burned down her throat. Victor watched her closely, his smile unreadable. "You've done well, Amanda. You've made me proud. But you know, success always comes with expectations." Her pulse quickened. Expectations. He leaned closer, lowering his voice. Loyalty, gratitude, understanding the value of what's been given. The air between them thickened. She stepped back. "I am grateful, sir. I'll never forget what you've done." He smiled faintly. "Good, because I never forget, either." That night, she returned to her apartment shaking. Her roommate, a cheerful Ghanaian girl named Nia, noticed. "Babe, what's wrong?" Amanda forced a smile. "Nothing, just tired." But inside, she felt trapped, grateful yet uneasy, proud yet afraid. Weeks passed, and Victor's control deepened. He began sending her expensive gifts, perfumes, dresses, jewelry. He told her which parties to attend, which people to meet, and even which photos to post online. "You represent my brand," he said. Sometimes late at night he'd call, his voice low and heavy, asking questions that made her skin crawl. "Are you alone?" "Yes, sir. I like that. You sound beautiful when you're quiet." Amanda would freeze, gripping the phone until her knuckles turned white. She wanted to hang up, but feared losing everything she'd worked for. The breaking point came one evening when she was invited to a private dinner at his penthouse. She told herself it was business, maybe another scholarship discussion. When she arrived, the table was set for two. No assistants, no secretaries. Just Victor, smiling that calm, dangerous smile. "Sit," he said softly. They ate mostly in silence until he stood and walked toward her. She stiffened as his hand brushed her cheek. "Do you know how much I've invested in you?" he murmured. "Sir, please." He tilted her chin up, his voice smooth but sharp. "Don't call me sir tonight." Amanda's world blurred. Her mind screamed no, but her body froze. Tears burned behind her eyes, but she forced them back. If she resisted, everything would end. The scholarship, the dream, the future she fought for. When she left that night, she didn't feel like herself anymore. She scrubbed her hands raw in the sink, whispering, "I just needed to survive." From that day, Amanda changed. Her laughter dimmed. Her grades slipped. She avoided friends, classes, even her reflection. She began wearing long sleeves and dark glasses, hiding the girl who once taught children by lantern light. Victor, meanwhile, acted as though nothing had happened. He still called her "my brilliant Amanda" in public, donated in her name, posted photos of their foundation's success story. But every word, every smile, was a chain tightening around her neck. Then came the collapse. One morning, Amanda fainted in class. When she woke up in the hospital, the doctor frowned at her test results. "You're underweight. Stressed. Your immune system is weak." She whispered, "But I eat." He shook his head. Sometimes the body breaks when the soul is too heavy. Amanda cried silently that night, clutching her hospital blanket. For the first time, she didn't dream of America or success. She dreamed of Makoko, of children laughing, of warm water, of peace. She knew then she had to go home. The plane touched down in Lagos under a gray sky. Amanda pressed her forehead against the window, tears clouding her vision. She had left Nigeria with dreams of changing her life. Now she was returning with nothing but silence inside her. At the arrival gate, her aunt waved, face filled with shock and concern. Amanda looked thinner, her once bright eyes dull and distant. "My child, what happened to you?" her aunt whispered. Amanda forced a small smile. "I just need a rest, Auntie. I'm home now." Days passed slowly. She stayed indoors, barely eating, barely speaking. At night, she woke up drenched in sweat, heart pounding with memories she couldn't escape. The pressure, The manipulation, the constant feeling of being owned. It wasn't one night that broke her. It was every moment of control, every choice that never felt like hers. The scholarship letters on her desk now looked like traps, not blessings. She stared at them for hours before finally tearing them in half. Some opportunities, she muttered, come wearing masks. Her aunt tried everything to cheer her up. Amanda, come to church, she said one morning. You've been alone too long. But Amanda shook her head. Church can't fix what's gone. Still, one evening, she walked down to the waterfront, the same Makoko bridge where she used to sit as a child, watching the sun dip into the lagoon. Children splashed nearby, laughing with the same joy she once had. For the first time in months, she smiled, faintly but real. An old fisherman sitting by the water looked up. Ah, Amanda the teacher, he said, recognizing her. I heard you traveled far. She nodded. I did. He studied her face, his eyes kind. And did you find what you were looking for? Amanda hesitated, then sighed. No, I lost it on the way. The man smiled faintly. Then find it again. Start small. Help someone else. That's how God returns what was stolen. His words hit her like truth wrapped in simplicity. For days after, Amanda couldn't stop thinking about them. The next week, she gathered a few children from the community and began teaching them again, just as she had before the scholarship before Victor. She used torn notebooks, sticks, and chalk pieces from an old store. The kids listened eagerly, calling her Auntie Amanda, their eyes shining with hope. Each day, something inside her healed. She still had nightmares, but when she woke up, the sound of children reciting poems washed some of the pain away. Then, one hot afternoon, as she dismissed the class, a car stopped by the dock, a sleek black SUV. Her chest tightened instantly. Victor stepped out. He looked different, older, wearier, almost human. The same man who once held all her dreams in his hands now seemed burdened by his own ghosts. Amanda, he said quietly. She froze. What are you doing here? I came to see you. You disappeared without a word. She looked away. You had enough of my words, Victor. He nodded slowly, guilt flashing in his eyes. I know. I hurt you. I crossed lines I shouldn't have. But I've been thinking, and I want to make it right. I started a foundation here in Nigeria for young women who need scholarships, but with full transparency and independence. No one will ever go through what you did. Amanda listened quietly. Why tell me? Because I want you to run it. Her eyes widened. Me? He nodded. You're the reason it exists. I don't deserve forgiveness, but I want to do something good with the power I misused. For a long moment, neither spoke. Then Amanda finally said, I'll help, but not for you. For the girls who still believe their dreams shouldn't cost their dignity. Victor bowed his head. That's fair. As he drove away, Amanda stood by the water, wind brushing through her hair. A small smile crept across her face. For the first time, she didn't feel powerless. She wasn't someone's charity project anymore. She was her own redemption story. Months later, the Rising Daughters Initiative opened in Lagos, a small but powerful program giving scholarships to girls from underprivileged communities. Amanda stood at the front of the room, addressing the first group of students. She looked at their eager faces and said softly, Don't ever trade your value for opportunity. Your dreams don't belong to anyone else. You can rise, and you will. As the girls clapped, Amanda looked out the window and whispered, Mama, I kept the promise. Just not the way I thought I would. Outside, the sun broke through the clouds, painting the slum in gold. It was as if the world was whispering that redemption didn't erase pain. It rebuilt you through it.